So, I'm a babysitter. This is Alex. He's very mysterious. He's like a unicorn. Can't take a picture of his face. He's actually in the Gallatin building messing with computers like he does sometimes when he comes hang out with me. He's 10, and I've been watching him for 3 years, so he's kind of like my little brother. And the reason why this is important, obviously I'm not a babysitting major in Gallatin, so I wouldn't put it past Gallatin for that to be a major, but I'm a children's writing major in Gallatin, and spending time with Alex has been really important for me because I want to write books for kids, so I should really know how kids think. What's interesting about Alex is he comes out with some really witty, intelligent things that I want to write down and steal into my books. Like, recently he said to me over dinner, "Dayna, I want to retire." He's 10, which is incredible that he can think that way, but he said he's giving up on middle school, he wants to retire, eat candy all day, and that's what he wants to do. Which is fine, but it kind of got me thinking about this idea that as kids, and I remember being a kid myself, thinking, I know everything. I don't need to do anything else. I'm done with school. I'm done. And he has that mentality. And what's interesting about Alex, though, is the fact that even though he has this thought that he's done, he's over it, he loves to read. And for me, this is a really interesting concept because kids, one of the primary sources of entertainment, I mean, more TV now, but I remember being an avid reader and really I was learning so much from what I was reading. I learned a lot about life just by the books that I read. And so we have characters like Little Red Riding Hood that kids really like to identify with because it's fairy tales and very structured, moral things. They're learning, you can overcome evil. You're a little kid, but you're able to overcome the things that you don't think you can. We have books like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, where Charlie Bucket, who is poor, he's not in a high social class, he's very low on the scale of things, he gets lucky, but that doesn't mean that just because of luck you're going to, have a wonderful life. He succeeds in the end because he is a good person. He doesn't complain and he's not spoiled. Then of course it's Huckleberry Finn, who, in the scheme of things, he deals with morality and very serious social implications about his decisions. And because kids read this, they see it's okay not to agree with what you think what is going on in society. It's okay to disagree with those things and stand up for yourself. But it's interesting because reading for adults is different than reading for kids. And I still read children's books and I find them fascinating. But if we don't have these same kind of structures, these same moral ideas, and these things that we're learning in a very happily ever after way, why do we read? I mean, nobody reads with a smile on their face, do they? No. We read about heartbreak. We read about politics. We read about money and war and things that are very serious. And I think a lot about this is I still read more than I did when I was a kid. I'm always reading, but I'm not reading with a smile on my face. I'm not reading to find a happily ever after. What I'm reading for is to find the things in my life that I struggle with in other characters, the way they deal with it, the way they handle the struggle. And because of that, you're not internalizing your feelings anymore. And I think that's really important. That's part of the reason why we still do read. But an interesting thing that I've also come to conclusions at Gallatin is you need to read the children's books you read when you were younger. Because if we're reading now to find out who we are, we really need to read what we read then to find out who we were. Because we're not who we are now if we don't know who we were. So in something like Matilda, she was a girl who loved to read. I was a girl who loved to read. She wanted to overcome her parents. I certainly wanted to overcome my parents and have power over them. So when I was reading this is my all-time favorite book. And it's something that I think I really got a lot out of. And the same goes for the Secret Garden. I mean, I wasn't a brat like Mary is a brat in this book, but I like to think anyway. She finds this magical world where she is able to kind of overcome and, it meets somebody that she might not have met normally and really help him recover from his illness. And I think that's something that we all want to have when we're little. We want to be able to help people. We want to be a friend to someone. And then, of course, in the midst of Files of Mrs. Sadlerly, Frank Wilder, which is a great, amazing book. It's actually a book I didn't read when I was younger. But reading it now as an adult, I find that, it's about two kids who are metropolitan and they're sharp and they go and stay a night at the Met. That if I had read it, I might have been a lot cooler today. So, thank you.